For the site managed by Graydon and Jenny Wilcox, we've used one of the products from the Sustainable Grazing on Saline Lands project, which is a simple Excel spreadsheet which works out the economics of the site. And the analysis is a discounted investment cash flow analysis. So basically you collect some input data, including the cost of establishment, the annual maintenance costs, the grazing which has been achieved off the site, and then this information is put together and it's used to calculate the payback period, how long it takes to recover your upfront costs, and the benefit cost ratio. So for every dollar you put into the site, what sort of return do you get? So Graydon has done a lot of work on his site over the last 5 or so years. So on one area he's done some direct seeding of saltbush and a perennial understory, which was done in 2005, and we've put together all of the costs associated with seeding that area, and that came to about $530 per hectare. So that's the site preparation, the chemical control, the cost of the seed for the perennial understory, and then all of the saltbush direct seeding. So it is, I guess, fairly expensive, but when you look at it over a 20-year period, it is quite cheap. Another area that Graydon did 2 years ago was just some saltbush only. He's used the Ayers Green saltbush, and it's going into fairly saline country, bare scald and patchy barley grass. And with the Ayers Green only, that's worked out much cheaper at about $170 per hectare. But remembering that we're just putting on saltbush seedlings and we're not doing any understory. The next thing we did was work out the cost of annually maintaining both those saltbush sites. So Graydon puts on about 50 kilos of superphosphate per hectare and does an annual time right spray for insects in spring, and that works out to about $37 per hectare. The next step is to work out the grazing. The method of putting a value on short-term grazing we've used is working out the equivalent costs of maintaining the sheep in a feedlot if they weren't on the saltbush. And so the cost of a lupin ration and hay for maintenance is about 13 cents per head per day. So this is the value we put on a grazing day. So on the direct seeded saltbush and understory, Graydon has grazed a mob of about 900 sheep for about 1 month, and this is over the 20 hectare site, and so this works out to about 1,200 grazing days per hectare on an annual basis, and the valued at 13 cents per day. We're looking at a value of $160 per hectare off that direct seeded saltbush and understory. Now if we go to the Ayers Green saltbush only, which is on the saltier country, we've also run the sheep, the mob of 900, but only for 24 days, so slightly shorter, and this is over a much larger area, over 46 hectares. So we calculated 470 grazing days per hectare on an annual basis, which gives us a value of $60 per hectare, remembering that we're valuing a grazing day at 13 cents per day. So as you can see, we get much less value off just the saltbush only, and that's largely because of the understory. We haven't got that understory component. And also the model has the capacity to put a value on the supplementary feeding, because the sheep had no access to understory on that Ayers Green saltbush. Graydon had to supplement the sheep at 400 grams per head per day of feed barley. And if we value feed barley at $170 per tonne, which is the current value of the barley, it works out to about 7 cents per head per day. So this is also built into the analysis. So if we plug those numbers into our Excel spreadsheet, we get the results. So for the direct seeded saltbush and understory, we can pay back that establishment cost, the $530 per hectare, after 9 years. And the benefit cost ratio is is 1.6, so we get $1.60 back for every $1 we put into the site. But comparing that to the Ayers Green saltbush only on the saltier country, we've got a payback period of over 10 years, and so it's looking less profitable, and the benefit cost ratio is 0.85. So for every $1 we put in, we're only getting 85 cents back. And remembering that's including the value of the supplementary feeding as well. So as you can see, the supplementary feeding is quite pivotal in terms of making the exercise profitable or not. And I know that Graydon certainly favours the direct seeding and understory type pasture, because it is a lot more profitable in the long run.